Previously on
The Rat's Nest. Why is it? I don't care. I want to see Funky D Goofy. I want to see Funky the Goofy go around and swing Kaido like Mug's Bunny. I want to see that. Why am I watching Orochi? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about it. I don't care about Hiyori. I don't care about characters. I don't care about plot progression. I want to see Kaido get his ass yanked.
It's like a Dragon Ball fan.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yes, so.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about Gear 5 versus Super Saiyan?
Oh boy.
It's the discussion, right?
Let's do it up.
Funny discussion. Okay.
Let's do it up. Okay, so
we're coming in here. So let's explain our backgrounds here.
All right, you go first.
I am a One Piece fan first and foremost. And my top 10, I ranked it at number 4. My top 10 series of all time, I ranked it number 4. I have read the original Dragon Ball, and I have read through Saiyan Invasion and Namek of Dragon Ball Z. So I am naturally, subconsciously, biased towards One Piece. That's my background in this. Now, Kyle?
All right, I got a longer background. Slightly longer. When I was a lot younger, I was a big Dragon Ball fan. You know, when I was a kid, I was a big fan of it. I watched Dragon Ball Z Kai. Also, I want to reiterate, I did read the manga back in high school. I read the Dragon Ball Z manga. Never seen the original Dragon Ball though. Like when I was a kid, you know, not sort of part skip, but I just Nicktoons or whatever just threw Dragon Ball Z at me. I loved it. I got older, my tastes changed. I don't like it as much now. I mean, I wouldn't say I like it, but I'm willing to respect a lot of what the groundwork that it did. And then in college, I got into One Piece. Now, to say this, I am obviously more biased toward One Piece as well. So this discussion, Dragon Ball fans, I'm sorry, it's going to be led by two people who are more One Piece fans, but I will, we'll try to be fair with it. Because I will say, right, saying, all right, first, I'm going to call out you motherfuckers that say Super Saiyan is the same as Gear 5. I'm going to call you directly out. Just how they operate, this isn't even me being salty. They are just not the same in terms of ability. Super Saiyan, I'm going to call you out, again, is just, I am stronger and I'm better. You're stronger, faster. It's like that one song. Nothing about the way in which characters fight with Super, nothing in the way in which Goku fights changes. It's just that he's faster and stronger and can deal more damage to Frieza. Gear 5 is Toon Force. Those are not the same thing, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that you guys are dumb if you say that they are the exact same in terms of how they operate with power.
Yeah, no. Super Saiyan and Gear 5 are only similar in the fact that hair color changes and it's a power-up. That is where the similarities end.
It's like two vegetables, but one of them's like corn and the other one's like a potato.
Yeah. They're vegetables, but they are so different and they mean so much differently in the stories, right? So let's look at Super Saiyan, right? And I'll go through Super Saiyan. You can fill in details.
Sure.
Super Saiyan there is one legendary, as it's explained in Namek, right? Which is looking at when Super Saiyan happens, not what it's become, because what it's become is an entirely different can of worms that we are not going to get into.
It's pretty bad.
When it happens,
we'll talk about that.
Super Saiyan is every 1,000 years, a Saiyan is born with the ability to become a Super Saiyan. It awakens or something within them, right? It gives them an extreme power boost, their hair turns yellow, that kind of thing. It is awakened in Goku's fight against Frieza after he trains on the funny gravity ship for however long on his way to Namek, right? After being revived, he's, all that good stuff.
He fights. I'll say this: he fights Frieza. He hits Freezer with the spirit bomb, and everyone thinks the fight's over. And so, in Goku's eyes, right? Let's look at it from Goku's perspective, because I feel like that'll be the most fair way to do it.
Yeah.
You just thought that you killed like the strongest guy in the galaxy, like the evil space Hitler. You killed him. He's still alive, even after hitting him with like your hardest attack. Piccolo, your enemy, what now turned like friend, I guess you can call it, like the person who basically is like, you know, an ally, a good ally who's like helped take care of your kid, is shot and is seemingly killed. Then your best friend, since you were a kid, is killed again, and you can't revive people with the Dragon Balls twice. The Namekian Dragon Balls, all that shit's happening. Like Piccolo's dead, Dragon Balls are gone. You just lost, like, you know, Piccolo's dead. Like that sucks, but like you just lost your best friend. Your best friend imploded before your very eyes, and now the barrel of the gun, Frieza's fingertips, are now aimed at your own kid. Naturally, something within you snaps that, like, you've always thought there's good in people. You've always thought that like, even Vegeta, you know, from what you'll see later, like the Goku, you know, he's always trying to like extend a hand. This, like, you just encounter someone who's just this awful, this vile, this evil, and something snaps within you, and you go Super Saiyan. Because you're trying to protect everyone you love. And that's what Super Saiyan happens. That's what happens. He gets the sheen, like the gold hair, the power boost, and he's able to like go at a pretty healthy one-on-one against Frieza. And that's where the fight, you know, it just happens. It's the whole 25-minute thing, that's where the fight goes. That's Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
In that context. And now you
explain. Cool. Super Saiyan is a very cool transformation. I mean, I read it and I pogged. I was like, no freaking way.
I won't be. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll recall a story from my childhood, not very long. I watched it with a friend, and we saw that, and we were so hype as these dumb little kids. We're like, yes, he's gonna hair dye. I'm kidding, but like we were just so excited that it was like, oh my god, like, dude, he's changing. And I remember watching it, and it was just so cool. It was so awesome to watch Goku finally slap Frieza around. Like, it always is, I'd say cathartic's the right word, or like some catharsis there that you finally get to see, like, okay, they struggled, and they hit a snap, and Goku is that guy. He is that guy who can become Super Saiyan, and he's finally, like, dogging on Frieza. It's a good moment, and it's a great transformation.
It's not Gear 5.
It's not Gear 5.
So...
Because...
I won't go into the utter details of Gear 5. Because I assume if you're here, you know Gear 5. Yeah. Right? 1,043 chapters of build-up to 1,044 of Luffy going through the different gears, and he finally awakens his fruit. A concept that was introduced however many chapters ago, right? His awakened devil fruit, right? He has the mythical Zoan, which is a class that has been steadily built up since Marco and Marineford halfway through the series, right? This is his peak. This is his ultimate peak. And that's another way it differs from Super Saiyan, right? Now, of course, at the time of Super Saiyan, it was presented as Goku's peak, but then again, Goku's peak was also presented at 400 power level at the end of Dragon Ball, whenever Roshi blew up the fucking moon. We don't talk about that stuff, right? This is Luffy's peak, right? This is it. This is the grand reveal that not only is he not the Gomu Gomu no Mi, he is the awakened Hito Hito no Mi mythical model Nika. This is not just even a change of fruit. This is a fruit that the world government has been searching for 800 years that the Five Elders say always evades them. Now, we also know that this is the sun god Nika, which is
Joy Boy,
a god. And we also know that it's Joy Boy, a character that's been built up since Fishman Island, as the person who left the fucking One Piece. Luffy is literally the fruit of the guy who left the One Piece.
It's called Gum Gum Fruit because the government's trying to cover up what it actually is.
Yeah.
So it's not a retcon.
It's not a retcon. No, his fruit is the Gum Gum Fruit. That's what a pre-awakened human fruit, like his fruit pre-awakening does change your body into the properties of rubber. Like that's what it does. That's what they said that it did. They said whenever it awakens, it enhances those. He can fight however he wants. It's ridiculous. That's the thematicism of Part 5, and not even to mention Luffy not even to mention the Luffy himself wanting to free Wano, and then freeing people and being himself free, and he's like, who's the Pirate King, the freest person in the world? Mr. Unchained, Mr. Biscuit Oliver, and then you get him being the sun god Nika, who fights however he wants and is the most ridiculous power, and his cock is so long, right? It doesn't come close. Also in design, right, versus Super Saiyan, right? His clothes change, his hair turns into like white fire, and he gets real goofy, and he can fight how he wants, right? So, comparing the two. Let's compare the two. We got the two forms now. Let's compare the two. Right? Thematicism. It's not present in Super Saiyan. It's there. Yeah, I mean it's a cool moment, and it has its poignancy. But in my opinion, it doesn't lead up to One Piece. Gear 5 has way more thematicism present from all different angles. Right? I just, in terms of like what it is, because I've read One Piece up until Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan hit, right? But it didn't.
You read One Piece till Super Saiyan?
I did read One Piece till Super Saiyan. And it hit, but it didn't hit like Gear 5, right? Though I think thematics goes to Gear 5.
I would agree. Like, I'm not saying that there's nothing there with Super Saiyan. It's because
there's definitely stuff there, and I would say that it's good stuff. It's just, it doesn't compare to Gear 5. I don't think that's bad to say. I mean, how can it compare to 1,043 chapters of build-up?
Because then also, I'm gonna bring this up. You gotta also look at further than just that moment too, because. And I know it's a little unfair to say this, but like we have more content following it. We have stuff following Gear 5, so we can make a little bit of like claims about it. But like we know
Gear Ultra 5, Ultra God, Super God, Nika.
Yeah, like we know what it devolves into, and I think that's another thing here of like we have to see where it goes with Gear 5. So this might be me talking about my ass a little bit, but I would also say like in terms of how important it is, like how relevant it is, I would also still give that to Gear 5, because like Super Saiyan, I mean, it's taken damage over the years. It's gone from this ancient 1,000-year-old transformation that can only happen once in a blue moon to like everyone getting it, and also like the way in which people get it definitely dwindles. Like, do you care for like a minor spoiler?
I don't care at all.
Cool. Like it goes from that to like. There's another good moment in Cell. I'm gonna get shot for this. There's a moment in Cell with like someone getting it. I'm not a huge fan of. But like as it goes on, it eventually digresses to like even kids getting it. And if we want to go even further into Super, it devolves into like it's like a sensation of like a back tingle that if you can access that, you get Super Saiyan. It's like a back tingle. Yeah, it's
I guess
like Super Saiyan. The original moment, really, really good. I'm not knocking on that moment, but like it had the transformation itself has definitely lost itself in meaning, and it's definitely dwindled over the years. I think Gear 5 being just what it is, like other people can have awakenings, but I don't think anyone else, unless Oda pulled a complete Goofy and had Emu be like, behold, the second.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was another God fruit. I wouldn't but I mean, surprised, but it's not going to be another Nika fruit.
That's what I mean. Like in Dragon Ball, right? Like Super Saiyan, it enhances abilities, but ultimately, that's as far as I remember, about as far as it can go. Like the way in which you fight doesn't change, and that's why I find it. In terms of that's another category here. In terms of like how entertaining it is to watch, I think like nostalgically, I enjoy watching Super Saiyan stuff. But when you compare fights like Goku and Frieza, where he first awakens it, to Gear 5 Luffy v Kaido, there's just a lot more to enjoy with Gear 5 fights compared to Dragon Ball. Because ultimately, what about the fight changes other than Goku being stronger and faster?
Yeah.
And like can do a little bit more. Like I even if you want to go even further, like the other transformations, like nothing really changes. Even like hell, like the god transformations. Like when you get into UI, it's slightly different. But like even like Super Saiyan, SSJ, I mean nothing. As far as I remember, doesn't ultimately change about the way in which they fight. Gear 5 changes like a lot when Luffy fights. Luffy using like no gears to gear 2 to gear 4 to like gear 5, so much changes. Like with gear 5, you can literally, I won't spoil like later stuff, but I mean like you could just yoink people up. When you swing around, their eyes bog out of their head. You can like run on air. You can like deflect shit with the earth itself. Like you are a cartoon character, which is a fundamental.
Sick. It's so
sick.
Cool.
I mean, the thumbnail of he not built for this.
He not built for this.
Like, what do you do when you hit someone with your strongest attack and they just like lift it? They pull like some Mario and Luigi type shit against Sephiroth, where it's like they just bounce it back. Like imagine using like Supernova and they hit it back with like a well-timed hammer press. Like that's the similar vibe I get of like you're not built for this, Kaido. Stop. So yeah, I just in terms of. Sorry, I know I talked a lot, but I'll cap off what I'm saying right here. If, like, in terms of what's more enjoyable, I'll give it to Gear 5 just because it is more fun. Like, I have more fun watching it because the way in which Luffy fights transcends how he normally fights. Nobody is prepared for the shit that Luffy's going to pull out in these next few episodes. I'm just saying it. No one's ready for it. And with Dragon Ball, it's like, oh, hey, he used Super Saiyan, and he's, like, glowing now, and he's faster and stronger. I'm not trying to sound like that guy, but I will ultimately be that guy of just like it's not as entertaining in retrospect.
Now, there is one thing that I will give Super Saiyan, and it is a huge thing that ultimately puts it on the same level as Gear 5.
Iconicism.
That
but okay, Brandon, you're opening the floodgates now.
It's my speech, and I'm gonna give it.
Go ahead, cook.
One of the main arguments for Super Saiyan is iconicism. Now, iconicism does not equal good, right?
Quality.
If something is iconic, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. Hitler's mustache is iconic. That doesn't mean I'm going to shave my beard and wear it. Are you really
comparing Super Saiyan to Hitler's mustache?
I'm making an argument about iconicism.
Okay,
let me cook. The stove's on. I'm throwing together the casserole. Right?
Okay.
So, I do not agree with the Dragon Ball fans who say, well, Super Saiyan is more iconic than Gear 5, and therefore it's better. That's not right. Like that's incorrect. That is not the argument. However, iconicism is definitely something to consider. You can't ignore iconicism in a debate like this. The simple fact of the matter is Gear 5 is not as iconic as as Super Saiyan, and it never will be as iconic as Super Saiyan. It is literally impossible to have the cultural impact that Super Saiyan has had. Like that is literally impossible. Like there's no way. I love Gear 5, there is no way. And that speaks for something. Super Saiyan is so iconic, and it is so what's the word? So iconic they what's the word I'm looking for?
You have to elaborate. Like, just so renowned.
Influential.
Prominent.
It's so iconic. It is so influential. It's core to so many modern manga. And, like, it goes back to where it inspired manga that inspired manga that inspired manga that we are getting today. Like, and that is absolutely something to be considered. Like in a debate between which is like Gear 5 and Super Saiyan, iconicism is absolutely something that needs to be talked about. Now, it being more iconic does not mean that it's more thematically prevalent, right?
Or better.
Yeah. but it's absolutely something that needs to be thing. And it's the thing that you can't say that Gear 5 is better than Super Saiyan in every single way. It's not. It's not more iconic, and it never will be. It will never have the impact that Super Saiyan had on culture itself, right? There is 0% chance of that ever happening.
It'll have influence, but
it will have influence, but it simply like it cannot be that influential as Super Saiyan.
No, I agree.
I mean, just objectively, Gear 5 was probably very much so inspired by Super Saiyan. I mean, the hair color changes, right? I was just, not saying that that's like, they copied Super Saiyan, because no, they didn't copy Super Saiyan. But I mean, you can't have a shonen transformation like this without some inspiration from Super Saiyan. Like that's just an objective fact. It's impossible to, and so that's absolutely something to consider. Super Saiyan isn't dumb or stupid or pointless or whatever as people call it, because it's iconic. And that is something that matters. That is something that counts.
Well, there's a lot of weight, a lot of gravitas.
Yeah, you can't ignore that. At the same time, you can't ignore how much Gear 5 does so much well, and I would say perfect from a writing standpoint, of the culmination of themes and the culmination of foreshadowing and everything in this epic that is One Piece that has been going for 20 plus years, for 25 years, right? And it's the culmination of all that. You can't downgrade and say, no, it's not as iconic as Super Saiyan, so basically you're stupid. No, they are both so phenomenal in their own ways.
Yeah,
and it's different, and they are different. There should be no debate here, right? There is no way that Super Saiyan, something introduced however many chapters into Dragon Ball, right, that has been built up for maybe 5 chapters beforehand, there is no way that it could match the thematic prevalency and foreshadowing that Gear 5 had. There's just no way. I'm sorry, Dragon Ball fans. There's no way that it can match that.
As far as I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, what were you gonna say?
I just wanted to throw in, I wanted to read from what you were saying. I'm pretty sure it was only introduced during around the Ginyu Force.
If even it was introduced then.
I think it was around that. It was either a little bit before or a little bit after. I just wanted to read from what you said. For a transformation that was introduced and done in the same, arc, it just does not have what you were saying about the build up, the thematics. Gear 5 excels in almost every other way, but the one way in which Super Saiyan excels is arguably one of, if not the most important ways, because quality can go out the window. It rat's ass. No offense.
Huh.
I'm so sorry. I said a rat's ass. I'm so sorry.
No, I know.
That doesn't matter. When it comes to sales, what people are interested in, you could write Scrimbo Bimblo's Amazing Adventure, and in chapter 89 give him the best transformation sequence known to man. It's not beating the more iconic than Super Saiyan allegations. It's just not gonna be more iconic. And Super Saiyan is everywhere.
Yeah, and that's nothing against Super Saiyan saying that it can't match that build up. How can I don't think it would be. I don't think another series again, with Super Saiyan saying I don't think there will ever be there can't be another transformation as iconic as Super Saiyan. At the same time, I don't think there can ever be another transformation as built up to as Gear 5, because what other series is going to be as iconic as One Piece has been and will have laid the groundwork since the very beginning as One Piece? Because just like with Dragon Ball, I don't think there can ever be another Dragon Ball, because I don't think that kind of influence can be achieved again. I also don't think there will be another One Piece, because that kind of influence can't be achieved again. Both Gear 5 and Super Saiyan are so important to anime and whatever, but it's for different reasons, because Gear 5 shows the culmination of 25 years of work by Oda. It shows the culmination of themes and characters and plot points and everything going towards Gear 5, towards Luffy's peak, right? And that is something to be celebrated. That is something that is so incredibly impressive from a writing perspective to do. That this is absolutely insane that Oda was able to do this. And to have it work the way that he did, and to have it be, again, in my opinion, perfect, that is absolutely insane, right? And just objective, there's no way that Super Saiyan could be that, because it didn't have 25 years of buildup. And that's nothing bad against Super Saiyan. Like, that's what makes Gear 5, is that it has all of that. Super Saiyan is Super Saiyan because of its iconicism. And that rivals the build-up and thematic perfectness and everything of Gear 5, because they're both so important and good because of that, right? I use good lightly with Super Saiyan, but you catch my drift here, right?
Super Saiyan is like the definition of the devil shivers when a nice guy.
They are both so incredibly important to anime and media, and I would say culture. Like I said, Gear 5 will never have the cultural prevalence of Super Saiyan, but the feat of achieving Gear 5 itself from a writing and like literature perspective is insane. Like they are both so important in their own ways. So people shouldn't be comparing them, because in terms of thematicism, Super Saiyan loses. There's no shame in that. In terms of iconicism, Gear 5 loses. There's no shame in that. So the whole argument of do it better, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Dragon Ball fans, you have Super Saiyan. You have the most iconic shonen transformation, anime transformation ever. It will never be topped. One Piece fans, we have Gear 5. It's Gear 5. It will never be topped. Stop fighting.
This really feels like, it really does feel like the definition of like a parent trying to explain to like two kids that are fighting, like, you have your toy and you have your toy. You both asked for this toy specifically, and now you want the other one's toy or whatever. Like, learn to play with your own toy. And that tangent aside, I think you can, because, ultimately, right, I think one comic, this is tangential, one comic that like really did a lot of damage is like the one where the guy like hushes another guy's lips and says, "Shh, let people enjoy things." Like, you're allowed to make critical comparisons, and I think you can compare Gear 5 and Super Saiyan, but like what you said, at the end of the day, Super Saiyan succeeds where Gear 5 might not, and vice versa. And I think it's really cool that two kings can exist at the same time. I just wish annoying One Piece fans and annoying Dragon Ball fans would just log off Twitter, go touch some grass, and just
please talk to women. Please. Women,
don't bring
please
up
talk to me.
Don't bring up Dragon Ball or One Piece. Don't bring up anime. You're gonna scare them away. But yeah, just at the end of the day, because like I've had many a discussion with Dragon Ball fans who are my friends who I just don't like Dragon Ball, and I try to rationalize why I find it like boring, but I'm willing to give and say that like Super Saiyan is good for different reasons, and Gear 5 is good for different reasons. They're both really good transformations, and I think that's what it should just be left at. I'm so sick and tired of seeing fan bases try to like get at each other, like each of them. It's so annoying. It's like there's so many like bait or gotcha attempts. People trying to like draw Goku like losing to Gear 5 or like crying, and then they're drawing like Gear 5 Luffy like crying or whatever, and just being like, yeah, no, your thing is mid. You're mid.
So basically, Gear 5 is far better than Super Saiyan. If you think otherwise, you're an idiot. If you're this far in the video, obviously there's something you liked. So make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us which one you think is better. Please start comment wars. We want you guys to kill each other in the comments of this video. If someone isn't crying by reading the comments, you haven't done a good job. Thank you all for watching. We hope you all enjoyed. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.